deep into whatever it is we find interesting. I'm your host, Calvin, and joining me from the gridiron, it's your co-host, Nick Richardson.
What's up, y'all? I'm here with my gridiron gang, aka,
The Rock.
I mean, he is my homie. He's here as well.
What
But
up, Dwayne?
yeah, it's he prefers the Rock when he's on the
All right,
gridiron.
I got you. I'm wondering if I should have went that you were joining me from Gettysburg, but I thought that would have been too deep a cut. Like maybe people wouldn't have understood that we're talking football movies today if I would have went with Gettysburg. 50,000
Probably.
people died there.
That is very sad. I went there for my honeymoon. It's a very
There
beautiful
you go.
place. The people are very nice.
I mean, yeah, but like, there's probably got to be better places to go for a honeymoon, right?
Possibly, but there's mountains
Not for
around
Nick.
there, and it's
I get that.
very, very nice.
I like
People
mountains.
where I live are assholes. Shout out people where I live.
Hey, look, here's the thing though. People everywhere are assholes.
These people were
Just
super
gonna throw
nice,
that
man.
out there.
They were just very, very nice.
Shout out Gettysburg. Not assholes there.
Yeah, lots of Amish people too. That was cool.
That's true. That's because in Gettysburg they know that the shit that brings people in is super boring, so they've got to be really nice to make up for that.
The food was dynamite too.
There you go. That helps too. All right, so we're talking not Gettysburg, not Civil War today. We're talking football movies. We're giving out movie superlatives to football movies. The rules are only one movie per award and only one award per movie. We've got some guests here to help us today give out these awards to different football movies. So we hope you enjoy that as well. And we've got a lot going on. The category is football movies, so we want to make sure that the movie was mostly about football, or at least tangentially about football. I think I've got one of those in there that's not quite about football, but it's also somewhat about football. So this is going to be fun. I love football movies. Thanksgiving is this week. Well, not this week, but the week it's releasing, Thanksgiving's coming up. Thanksgiving is a time for football and apparently family. Mostly football and food, though.
Yeah, football, food, and family. The triple Fs. And I mean, you can't go wrong with football on Thanksgiving. I remember the first time I saw The Replacements was Thanksgiving.
Good film, so I've read. I've actually never seen all of The Replacements. It's one of those movies that was literally on TNT all the time when I was in college, and I've seen most of it through that, but I've never watched it from beginning to end.
I don't think anybody has.
Not anybody born after 1982.
No, probably not. Shout out you guys.
Because that's everybody else was watching on TNT, same as I was. So, the categories that we're giving awards for today are Best Coach, Best Player, Best End Goal, like what is the team trying to accomplish by winning the big game or winning the season? Like what are they actually going to accomplish if they win? The most interesting team, and the best touchdown/touchdown celebration. That was kind of an either or, but I wrapped mine into both of them.
I'm very eager to hear what that is because I had a bitch of a time. I had to go either or.
Yeah, that's fine. That's how it was supposed to be. And when I gave it to the guest that's going to be filling in on that answer, I just said best touchdown. So I didn't even give them the celebration option. Sometimes I make things too confusing for even myself.
What the fuck did I mean here?
Especially, yeah, that happens sometimes. Like if I wrote an outline like 8 months ago, and I'm like, oh, we can finally do this one, and I look at the outline, I'm like, what the fuck was I talking about? Where was I?
Yeah, and then you try to get in the mind space. That's a bitch sometimes, man. Especially if you handwrite them. Oof.
No,
My
everything
handwriting is
goes
terrible.
into a Google Drive because I'll lose handwritten notes. The only handwritten notes I have are for the Patreon exclusives. I'd sit and write my notes out there in a podcast about something notebook that you can get from tpublic.com
Boom.
/APA something.
The merch is dope.
It's all there. It's got our logo, all kinds of stuff.
I have a t-shirt, and it's wonderful. It's
I have
super
a hoodie
comfortable.
that I actually got to wear last week because it dropped below 75 degrees in Florida, so that was nice.
Man, fuck
Can't wear it anymore now.
that. You bastard. It was -9 pretty much
Oh, that'd
all
be so
last
nice.
week with winds. Like when I
See,
go
the
into
wind I
work.
could do without.
Oh, the wind. See, everybody around me is always like, yeah, I don't mind the cold until
I'm
it's
fine with
windy.
the cold until the wind hits. Yep.
Oh, yeah. So, I mean,
Like I
it
could
was
just walk out in the cold with
-20.
my jacket and my pants. I'm fine. And it actually feels good sometimes. But like that wind starts hitting you. Nah. Get me out of that shit.
Yeah. Fuck that.
Should we give up some made up awards to some football movies?
Oh, hell yeah.
As part of your Thanksgiving homework, listeners, watch all of these movies during Thanksgiving.
Especially if
Because,
you haven't seen them.
yeah. And, the Lions are always on Thanksgiving, so just skip that Lions game and throw one of these movies on instead.
Or do both. We have phones and,
Yeah. A
tablets
lot of
and
TV,
shit.
a lot of TVs in the house where Thanksgiving is hosted. You've got, if your significant other is going out shopping on Black Friday, great time to catch up on some football movies. There's nothing better than a football movie.
No,
Actually, that's a good
especially.
question
Wait, go
because
ahead.
I think I'm already gonna take that back. What's the best kind of sports movie?
A football
What
movie.
sport is the best? Football? I
Definitely.
disagree. It's boxing.
What boxing movies are there besides Will Smith's
Rocky?
Ali? Well, yeah,
Rocky?
that's dumb.
Like 12 of them?
Rocky, The Fighter,
Southpaw, The
Creed.
Fighter.
That was the dumbest comment I think I've
Yeah,
ever made
that
on
was
this
rough.
show. Witness, you
Did,
guys have
did you
witnessed
need to
me.
edit that out for you?
Oh man,
The thing about boxing movies, and one day we'll probably do boxing movie superlatives, and I'll have to remake this point, is you can focus on the individual, right? So you can tell an individual story within the framework of a sports movie where you're overcoming odds and things like that. With a football movie or a basketball movie, it's always about how the team comes together for the most part. You've got to have 4 or 5 strong actors to make the movie work, right?
I
You
mean,
know,
no, I was trying to think of the way to say it without, like, I
with
don't know, necessarily being a
with a
dick.
boxing movie, you just need one good lead actor, and hopefully the supporting, like the girlfriend or wife, is also a good actress. Unless
Girlfriend or
it's
wife. It usually
Million
is
Dollar
that shit
Baby.
too.
I mean, Million Dollar Baby.
The
That was
grandpa, basically.
a female-led boxer movie, and I didn't like that movie, but it wasn't because it was female-led. It was just like it was a fucking Clint Eastwood movie, so it was long and boring.
Dry as
Yeah, but like
fuck.
the boxing scenes in that movie were fantastic.
Yeah, they
It
were
was just
great.
everything in between it was fucking terrible, and I didn't want to watch it.
It was very realistic until the point where she fell on the stool. And then it was
Yeah.
just like, wow,
Then it's
they
like, oh, there's still
cheaped
an
out.
hour and 12 minutes left of this movie,
Yeah,
and she's laying in a bed the whole time.
and it's just getting sadder.
And then I also like baseball movies. I hate baseball, but I like baseball movies for that same reason. Baseball movies usually focus on a single person overcoming their demons to win the big game, right? It's either a pitcher or like a big hitter. Somebody who's in a slump, like you take The Natural, and Roy Hobbs is in a slump, and and also he gets shot, but he's got to come out of that slump to win the game. I mean, getting shot usually puts you into a slump. I'll admit that.
I fucking imagine, especially if you got shot in the arm.
I think he got shot in like the ass or something. I don't remember.
That would make
I
it
gotta
even
rewatch that one.
worse. You don't clench your butt if you try to swing at a baseball?
Exactly. So you still get that individual personal story in a baseball movie because it doesn't really matter who the center fielder is because the movie's actually about the pitcher and him throwing the perfect game kind of thing.
Yeah, with football
I
movies
think
though,
football's third, to be honest.
no, I disagree. I mean, it falls right into the
That's what
same
we're here for.
category as boxing and
It
any
doesn't.
other sports movie. Yeah, it does because there's always a character on
Well, yeah,
football
there's
movies.
always
So
a
it's like
lead.
it focuses on the team, but there's always that little sub character within the team.
Well, let's take Remember the Titans for a minute, which
There's like 12 characters in that movie.
yeah, there's 12 characters that it focuses on the coach more than the players, and it doesn't actually matter which one of those players is coming through because they all have to come through at some point. You got Gary Bertier, you've got Sunshine Ronnie Bass, you've got Julius Campbell, you've got Petey, you've got whatever Ryan Gosling's character's name is. I don't think he had a name. You've got Racist Ray in there. Like you got Louis Lastic. They all need to do their part to win the game. Friday Night Lights, same thing. You get Booby Miles, you got Mike Winchell, you got the preacher on defense. Uh, I don't know, Chavez, the cornerback. Like you got to have all of those things in a boxing movie or a baseball movie. You only need one guy.
You don't need to have all those things, though. This is what I'm saying. I think it
I
all
think to have
comes
a
down
good
to
football movie, you do though.
no, you need
You need
characters, and by that I mean goofballs, like character
well, yeah, you always got to have.
personifications. That's
You
what I'm
definitely have to
saying.
have like the goofball characters in there in a football movie, but because you have to break up all of the teamwork crap with some humor. But the point I'm trying to make, and maybe I'm not making it well enough, is And I love football movies, and bringing all of those characters together is what makes a football movie great, and that's a lot of what we're going to talk about in this episode. But it doesn't the story outside of the football game doesn't ever focus strongly enough on any one of those characters for me to feel a connection to them. Does that make sense?
That does.
Because you have to have all of them. You have to have all of them to make the team. You can't make a football movie that focuses on one player for the whole movie.
Yeah, rarely do they even
there's not a
present it that
good
way.
football movie out there that's like, okay, we're just going to pay attention to what happens to the quarterback. Running back, he doesn't matter. The receivers, they don't matter. No linemen, no defensive backs. They're all just extras. We just care about the quarterback.
So the modern
there's
day
not a
NFL.
good football movie out there that does that. I don't even know if there's an actual football movie out there that does that. If there is, hit us on Twitter. I'd love to hear.
Seriously, because I mean that's just unrealistic. It's all about the quarterback these days. You can't even flick the motherfuckers.
That sounds like a salty Bears fan there that has a shitty quarterback.
That is a mega salty Bears fan. I'm not ashamed to admit it. Saltier than any Italian beef
just
around.
Remember, y'all traded up 2 spots in that draft to get Mitchell Trubisky, while Deshaun Watson and Patrick Mahomes were sitting there doing nothing at 10 and 15. So, just remember, Mitchell Trubisky.
You think I don't know this?
Picks got traded. Yeah, oh no, I know you know. I'm just reminding everyone out there.
I have that shit tattooed on my chest, son. Every time I look in the mirror,
we traded up for Mitchell Trubisky. Deshaun Watson and Patrick Mahomes were available much later in the draft.
Yeah, I mean, it stretches really long down my belly. It cost me like $3,000. But I am that dedicated.
It's a good tattoo. I won't lie. All right, let's get into the awards.
Let's do it.
I think we've done enough BSing. Best coach. So we are going to hear, when we do each award, we're going to hear from the guest first. We'll react to that, and then we'll give our picks. So we're going to hear from Boomer from the Boomstick podcast, and he is at Boomer821 on Twitter.
Oh, hell yeah.
Hello, all a podcast about something listeners. This is Boomer. I am with the Boomstick podcast. I'm half of it. We are a podcast that talks about kind of everything. One of my hosts is a hardcore liberal, not me, and I am somebody who doesn't care about politics, and we fight about all things like that. Today I've been given the task to give out the Best Coach Award for football movies. And for me, I'm going with the movie maybe a lot of you haven't seen. Maybe you have. I'm not sure. It's one of my favorites. It's The Program. And I'm giving it to Sam Winters because of all the football movies, it is the most realistic to me. I feel like it's something that has happened before with coaches who are long-tenured coaches and given a deadline of if you don't do so good off a bad season, you could get fired. And college coaches will go to any risk to get this done, especially back then. Joe Paterno is somebody that you could mention that has done that. But so in this movie, he is trying to help his quarterback win a Heisman while being an alcoholic, and one of his best linebackers or DNs being on steroids. And he does what you would think and tries to make sure his players are best fitted and helps to make sure they can get the job done. And he finally does succumb and make his quarterback go to rehab. But the reason I like it the most is that he is the most realistic. If you go, I know most of you are going to say, Remember the Titans is about a real coach. That's a completely fiction story about a realistic person. You can go do the research and see that the coach from Remember Titans was nothing like that. He was actually mocked hardcore and then fired a couple years after that year of that national championship and segregation. So for me, I'm going with The Program. I think it's a great movie. If you haven't seen it, and Sam Winters, who's played by James Caan, who's a great mobster as well in, The Godfather and so on. Go check out The Program. Go check out The Boomstick. And thank you, a podcast about something.
So we got Sam Winters from The Program. Have you ever seen The Program?
I have not. I've never even heard of that.
It's a 80s football movie. Like you said, it's a college coach, and basically everything you could think that could go wrong on a college sports team goes wrong. He's got a guy on steroids, he's got a guy on drugs, he's got like a quarterback who can't live up to the pressure and wants to kill himself. Like there's all kinds of shit going on, and it's a good pick. It's wrong, but it's a good pick.
It sounds really intense, like more intense than I want from a football movie.
It gets a little deep, and then it's got kind of that 80s boring flow to it a little bit. so it's hard to stick with sometimes. It's a solid movie. It's a good watch. I would never watch it again, but it's a good one-time watch. And like you said, there's a lot going on, and James Caan as Sam Winters does a great job of holding that team together and playing for his job. But I've got to go a different way.
I also have to go a different way.
My best coach, and it's somebody that Boomer mentioned. It's Herman Boone from Remember the Titans. I don't care.
You mother trucker.
I mean, but it's the only right answer. I'm sorry.
It really is. It really
It may
fucking is.
be a mostly fictionalized story because
Who cares?
if
It's a
you,
movie.
well, exactly. It's movie players and coaches. It doesn't matter what actually happened in the real world. And like go do the research on Remember the Titans. It is vastly off base with its historical accuracy. Not even close. Like the undefeated team was like 3 years after they integrated, and Gary Bertier got hurt like 10 years later, not in the game. Like there's all this different stuff that's going on that didn't actually happen that they played up to Disneyfy the movie. And I mean Boomer's recording, he said that Boone was actually like in real life was a pretty shitty person and he got mocked constantly. I'm like, well, and Remember the Titans, I'm pretty sure he gets mocked constantly too, just maybe for different reasons.
Well, yeah, and then everybody's kind of racist. There's that.
Yeah, exactly.
That's
And
a big
here's
one.
the thing. Here's why Herman Boone's the best coach. He fucking defeated racism. Like he won. Racism lost. Racism was ended after this movie came out, and Herman Boone was the best coach ever.
And you know what the best
Is that
part
true?
was?
And in 2019, is that still true? Is racism dead?
Oh, hell no.
Shit, it came back. God damn it, we need a remake. Remember the Titans. Get on that.
Dude,
We'll get Denzel.
fuck no,
We'll get Denzel back in.
Don't. Denzel
As long as we
Washington's too old. We need his son. We need his son.
Ooh, John David Washington.
Oh,
I'm in
we
for
could,
that.
yeah, we could so remake Remember the Titans.
All right. So he's great at speeches. Gives a great Gettysburg speech. Gives some great, and you got to give his coaching staff some shine too, because Coach Yost really great at in-game speeches too. You make sure you remember forever the night they played the Titans.
Yeah, I mean,
That's a great speech.
that's about all he was good for. Otherwise, he's kind of a.
I mean, he put PD on defense.
He's very
When
passive
Boone
aggressive.
yelled at him, he brought PD out. But really, back to Boone. Give me Denzel in any role, and I'm there for it.
Just
Like,
about.
Denzel's fantastic.
He's so on point in this
There
role.
are very few Denzel movies that I cannot watch. I did just recently watch The Equalizer 2, and that was not good, but it wasn't Denzel's fault.
He's still watchable. He's so good, especially in his younger days. He was fantastic. Fallen, amazing. So yeah,
Yeah, never seen it.
I don't know. He had such a great line whenever the way he portrayed his coach it reminded me of my coaches as a kid.
Yeah, he
They're-
felt like a real coach.
Oh, absolutely, like a guy that wants, I guess, what's best for you, mostly what's best for him.
Well, except for not giving anybody water breaks. That's a rough look in 2019.
He would be sued. Like he would
Oh,
not
yeah.
be a coach anymore
I
because
mean,
everybody's
people die
babies.
from that. So, yeah, that's rough.
It is a little rough.
But, he got the message through. Water is for cowards. Water's for getting blood off that jersey. You don't get no blood on my jersey. You must be outside. Damn, I know every line of that movie. It's so good.
I know just about it.
I watched it in middle school or high school, both. Like when it came, I think it came out in 2000. So middle school and high school, I watched it every week before a football game.
Yeah,
Like,
it
we would
was.
have games on Fridays or Saturdays, depending on like just how the schedule lined up. And I would watch it Thursday usually.
It was on the rotation for sure.
I knew that argument between Bertier and Julius, like when they're at the 2-week camp or whatever at Gettysburg, like I knew every line to that from both of them. I just know pretty much every line of the movie still. But going back to Denzel as a coach, he only runs 6 plays. Split veers are like Novocaine. Give it time, it'll work. Like that's bold to only run 6 plays.
Yeah, that is very bold.
I think once Sunshine Ronnie Bass came in, and that's another thing, he overcomes losing his starting quarterback early in the season. You bring in Sunshine Ronnie Bass, who low key close to winning the best player award for me. He
Yeah, he's
didn't
pretty
win
dope.
it because Boone's got to win best coach, so you can't pick 2 from the Titans. But Sunshine Ronnie Bass is really good. He can't make the pitch, but I think he eventually gets it. But I feel like Boone had to introduce more plays into the playbook once he's got the canon of Sunshine Ronnie Bass in there.
Yeah, that dude is a wild card. and Boone utilizes him to the max.
Yeah. And then he couldn't lose any games if he wanted to keep his job, and he didn't. So there you go. Like that's a great coach to me.
Yeah, that is very tough. And he's always got those little quips, those sayings that are great. I remember how many feet are in a mile because of that guy.
Yep.
5,280
5,280
feet. And you pick this ball
Pick this
up
ball
and
up
run every
and
one,
run every one of them. You're killing me, Petey.
You're killing me.
Killing me.
I digress.
Fucking Petey.
But I mean,
So
I
what do you
bad.
remember Donald Faison from the most? Is it this? Is it Scrubs? Or is it Clueless?
Scrubs, by far. Because
I think for me it's Clueless for some. Whenever I think of Faison, I think of Clueless for whatever reason. I've only seen the movie once.
I've never seen.
I know we've discussed that. But and then he was in this, and then he was in Scrubs, and I just like it never got out of my mind that he was the dude from Clueless.
He was always Scrubs for me. I mean, obviously because I'd never seen Clueless, but with Scrubs, it was one of those shows that I couldn't stand, but I still watched it all the time because it was like the only thing on.
I never liked Scrubs. I don't like Zach Braff. There are very few things that I can stand to watch him in. Arrested Development, he's great in that, but other than that, nothing for me. We got to mention while we're on Remember the Titans, because we're not going to come back to Remember the Titans anymore. Great fucking soundtrack.
It is pretty ballin'. And those
and the way they
dudes can
use
sing.
the music is really good too. A lot of it is between the players, bonding type things. Really good stuff from the music in Remember the Titans.
It's a very well done movie, and it
Really
holds
good.
up still, which
Not
is
historically accurate in the least bit.
no. But I mean, who
great
cares?
film.
It's a movie. I've never really looked at it and been like, if this was a true story, I'd like it a whole lot more.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it's based roughly on a true story. It's just they cherry picked a lot of things to put it together as the story they told, and I like the story they told better. Anyways, it makes more sense.
Yeah,
The
it's
only
not boring.
thing in this movie I have a problem with is after the make them remember forever the night they played the Titans. They do that montage of just every big hit. I don't want them to gain another yard kind of stuff. And fucking Bertier runs over to the sideline and just points at the opposing coach.
That was
That
pretty
was a
funny.
little rough. Yeah, that was just kind of out of place.
With his mouthpiece in and shit, it's like, what are you, a gorilla? Chill out, buddy. You're about to beat your chest.
It's a good thing you said that about Bertier and not one of the black players. Just saying.
I am not ignorant. You just say that.
Who was your favorite character in Remember the Titans? I just feel like we're going to turn this into an hour about Remember the Titans and then like 10 minutes on the rest of these awards, but that's fine. I'm okay with that. Who was your favorite player on just Remember the Titans?
Bertier.
I liked the Bertier-Julius relationship best about that movie.
It was dope. I really just liked it because I played linebacker. And
Yeah, there you go. Left side, strong side type stuff.
Yep, and there was a lot of... Yeah, there was a lot of that. There was a lot of that. So, I mean, he was easily identifiable with myself.
Big fan of Louis Lastic, too.
Louis Lastic!
He's got some great mama jokes.
They all are characters. They're fucking characters.
That's a mama joke. Great movie. All right, let's move on. Otherwise, we're just going to delve into that and never move past it. We also, on Twitter, asked for our weekly poll who the best coach in a football movie is. And our choices were Herman Boone from Remember the Titans, as we mentioned, Sam Winters from the program, as we mentioned, or as Boomer mentioned. I threw in Lance Harbor from Varsity Blues. When Paul Walker came in and coached that final game, I thought he did a really great job. And then other comments, as always. Herman Boone won in the landslide, 35%. Lance Harbor gets 19%. Sam Winters with 8%, and other with 38%, obviously.
That was good.
So we got some feedback from some people at Colby Mack at the Colby Told Me podcast. Why he gives a gif of Denzel from Remember the Titans and say why that wasn't an Oscar nominated performance stupefies me. Totally agree here, as we've laid out in our previous point. Then the Harper podcast at the Harper throws in Lou Brown from Major League. That's a baseball movie, so that's going to be disregarded.
Boom.
The Cooking with Grief podcast at Cooking with Grief throws in, I don't know his name, but it's from Any Given Sunday, Al Pacino. I don't remember his name in the movie. It was Tony something.
Tony D'Amato.
Tony D'Amato, that's the one. You just watched that recently, didn't you?
No, I actually listened to the Hold My Popcorn episode.
Oh, that's right.
Episode.
And you said you hadn't seen it, so I figured now you've watched it.
No, I've seen it before.
Oh, okay.
I got you. Recently.
Anyway, Tony D'Amato, gif of him giving his inches speeches. What a great speech there. I said I don't know if he's a great. I said choice, but I meant coach. I don't know if he's a great coach, but he does give a great speech and does a great job fucking over the Sharks at the end.
Seriously.
So you got to give him.
Baller.
You got to give him props for that. But honestly, the way he managed his team was not always great.
I mean, there were a bunch of hooligans.
Yeah, that's true. I
Bill
mean,
Belichick
Lawrence
wouldn't
Taylor.
tolerate
Lawrence
that shit.
Taylor literally cut a dude's Hummer in half with a chainsaw.
And there's a lot
That's
of
rough.
cocaine.
There's a lot of cococaine going around in there.
Like
A lot of
buttload.
dicks too.
Yeah, too many.
A lot of cocaine and dicks. Cameron Diaz doesn't seem to mind.
I mean, I'll just leave it there.
All right. A game of two halves at Go Two Halves gives a vote for Sam Winter. Says he's so underrated. You know, we talked about him a little bit. Philosophilm podcast at Philosophilm_pod. Danny O'Shea and the Little Giants. Football is not just about winning. He seriously helped those kids' self-esteem with a nice gif of Rick Moranis. I think we'll be getting to the Little Giants sometime here on our lists. Sarah Knightley. Sarah Knightley at Sarah Knightley gives the same gif of the inches speech from Tony D'Amato.
Except you have a slightly different reaction from a different player.
It's not the exact same gif. It's a different gif with a different reaction shot, but same speach.
This guy looks like he's shitting his pants in the first.
Yeah, he's
guy.
like, oh shit, it is a game of inches. You're right, Tony. Tony D.
Yeah, the first guy looks like he's praying or breathing very heavily.
Yeah, he's like, all right, whatever, coach. Like, he's like, let's just fucking go out and play. I don't care.
I'm cold, B.
Then True Facts with Robert Banquet podcast at TF Speak Seas. Nick Saban and the Blind Side. Also Nick Saban, anytime hashtag Roll Tide. Fuck Alabama and the Crimson Tide and all of that.
Oh, Calvin's laying it down right now.
Also,
you, brother.
Nick say, I mean that's a great pick because he's a real coach in a movie. Like I like that pick. It's very meta, but at the same time, as a Crimson Tide fan, can you really give it to Nick Saban there because he's playing the LSU coach in the Blind Side? Because at the time Michael Orr's story was taking place, he was still coaching for LSU. So I think you're a little bit at odds with yourself there. True Facts with Robert Banquet podcast.
Ooh, challenge also, thrown down.
Fuck the Crimson Tide, go Gators.
Yeah, fuck the Gators, son.
Easy now.
Hey, fuck Tim Tebow.
Yeah.
I'm throwing that out there.
All right, now you're just being mean, and it's not fair.
Let's just move on.
Really?
Oh, you already know Lovie Smith. Look at that beard. That thing is titanous.
So Jesse Creek at JCreek74. I'm just gonna ignore you now. Y'all forgot about the GOAT, Coach Jimmy McGinty, who took a scab roster with a skittish QB and beat Dallas while spotting them 20 points at half. Helps to have a kicker who's automatic from up to 70 yards, though. Again, I haven't seen the replacements, so that's kind of why I left Jimmy McGinty out, but it's a good pick.
A scab roster? That is a super rough description. You sir.
Well, a scab is, during a strike, a scab is a person who sides with management. So it's an employee who sides with management and basically keeps their job instead of going on strike with the rest of the employees.
Sounds
so that's
cool.
What they mean by scab there.
I never picked that up. I also have seen maybe that whole movie over like 9 years.
There you go. That's how it works with the replacements, as we've discussed here. So I still think it's Herman Boone from Remember the Titans. Sorry to all you other voters, but it's Herman Boone.
Herman Boone.
Anyway,
I agree.
Thank you for all the feedback. Usually every week, most every week, we throw a poll up there before we record about something we're going to be recording about, and we give shout-outs to whoever participates. So if you want to get involved, follow at APA something on Twitter, at @alone_ on at @alone_ podcast on Twitter also, and check out our polls each week, usually on Wednesdays because that's when we record.
Boom.
Thank you everyone for participating. Best player is the next award we're giving out. We've got some help from Joshua Self from the Self Shoots the Shit podcast, and he is at Magus of the M on Twitter. So let's listen to that real quick, hear what he has to say, and play.
Woo! Are you ready for some football? Hi, my name is Joshua Self. I'm the host of the podcast Self Shoots the Shit. Find me on Twitter, Instagram under Magus of the M, and I have the great pleasure of presenting an award to you guys. I mean, there's the Tonys, there's the Grammys, there's the Emmys, and then there are podcasts about something awards. Mama, I made it. I'm in the big time now. Special thanks to a podcast about something for having me on. The best player award, it's got to go to the legendary Bobby Boucher of the Waterboy. I mean, hands down, this guy plays offense, plays defense, and he can get your water. I mean, who else does that? I don't know any other football player that's running to get someone else's water. Not only that, this guy is gifted with the most powerful ability known to man, plot armor. Doesn't matter if he's got problems at home with his mom, maybe he's got problems with his dad, problems with his girlfriend, plot armor. His team is losing by double digits, plot armor. He's got to play a different position, plot armor. Like, he doesn't even want to play anymore because he's got a problem with his team. But guess what? Plot armor. He's coming right back. I wish I had plot armor. I'd been in a few situations, some precarious predicaments, and I did not come out unscathed. I had a few bruises, some scratches, maybe some failed relationships. I wish I had some plot armor. So, best player in a football movie has definitely got to go to Mr. Bobby Boucher.
That's a great pick. First of all, let me just say, you have made it big time by hosting a movie superlative. Can't get bigger than that.
Exactly, and your choice was pretty big time.
The whole time preparing this, I didn't even think about the Waterboy one time.
What?
And then, Self shoots the shit, comes in, and just blows my mind with Bobby Boucher. Dude played linebacker, he played quarterback, he made the game-winning touchdown, he forced turnovers, he got a tattoo of Merlin Olsen on his ass, maybe? I don't know. That happened somewhere in that movie, right?
I couldn't tell you. I do not recall.
Henry Winkler got a tattoo of somebody on his ass. I don't remember who it was. And he said, "Remember, what mama don't know won't hurt her."
Yeah, that was really, really weird. I just watched that a couple weeks ago, and instead of just, I mean, I've seen it a million times, but it's one of those where I notice shit every time I watch it. And
super deep movie, The Waterboy.
Well, it's fucking weird, man. And there's a lot
weird
to pick apart there. You're focusing on Bobby
Mudheads,
Boucher, who is kind of a knucklehead, but then they're eating weird
Vicky
shit.
Valancourt.
I don't know.
Vicky Valancourt's into some voodoo shit. The mama won't let him do anything. You got
Donkey inside, like
Blake
drives a
Clark over
tractor.
there rubbing his nipples when something happens good.
Hey, that was good old American excitement.
That party that he goes to, like after they win the first game that he plays in, is one of the weirdest scenes I've ever seen in my life.
There's a lot of them.
Yeah.
There's a lot of them.
It's very strange. Anyway, yeah, Bobby Boucher's a good pick. I like that. Because he, like he said, he's got plot armor. Whatever it takes to win the game, he can fucking do it. Cut his fucking head off,
I mean, I'm surprised they didn't do more to disrupt his all-quality talent, because he really does have plot armor out the ass.
Let's just talk
movie.
about this for a second. Gatorade is far superior to water.
The fuck you say?
I'm on record here. Gatorade is better than water.
There is a
I love water,
recording.
but Gatorade's better.
Fuck Gatorade, man. It's too sweet. And it gets all, it's sticky in your
Get the
mouth
G2.
and stuff.
Fuck is going on in your mouth?
G2
All right, who do
is
you have for
way
best
stickier.
player? No, G2 is terrible. Like
It's
it
very
literally
sweet.
tastes like water with a drop of Gatorade in it. It's useless.
Here, have this high quality Gatorade that I'll charge you extra for. I mean, it's just that tap water they're pulling out of the back of a gas station.
Not
No
a fan.
food coloring.
Who do you have for best player?
I got the amazing, the all talented, the absolutely jacked Booby Miles from Friday
Booby
Night
Miles,
Lights.
Great pick. Great pick.
Dude is a transcendent talent. I mean, absolutely a fucking
Man,
beast.
I didn't pick Friday Night Lights for any of these either. That's
What
rough.
are you doing? I mean,
It's just
you missed out on Booby.
Yeah, I mean, I'm glad we didn't pick because we'd have just ended up picking the same thing for every one. So I'm glad that didn't happen. But Booby loses points because he gets hurt twice. Put Booby in. Let him spin.
Still though, think about it like this, man. They were no brainers for the championship with Booby Miles on their team.
I don't know about that, man.
I mean, he didn't
that team from
lift.
Dallas was fucking stacked.
They were stacked, but Booby didn't lift or I mean, he hardly.
I mean, Derek Luke was also like 35 at the time they filmed the movie, so he's got a leg up there too.
I mean, yeah, he's absolutely jacked, and it's a movie, but within the context of the movie, I knew a kid like that in high school That dude was so nasty, and we were immediately way better with him on the team.
Except everybody from that Dallas team was basically the Booby Miles of their position, recruited from all over the state to come play for this fucking Dallas powerhouse squad. I I agree, Booby Miles is great. I'm not trying to take that away. He just couldn't be my best player because he got hurt. He barely played. You know, I got a problem with that.
Well, he
If you
played. I
can't be
mean,
on the
there's.
field, the best ability you can have as a football player is availability. That's what Mike Golick always says.
God damn it, Calvin.
It's not a good joke, or a good like saying. It's
No,
stupid.
my coaches used to say that to me, and it brought
Yeah.
horrible flashbacks.
Sorry about that. But really blame Mike Golick. It's his fault.
You fuck, Mike Golick, whoever you are.
Yeah, Friday Night Lights is great. I can't believe I didn't pick it. It just, like I said, it's not, to me, it's not the best at anything. It is a really good football movie, but they lose the big game. Their best player gets hurt. Their coach, and not the best coach, like he doesn't adapt well to losing Booby. Like it takes him a while to figure out, like give the ball to Jet Jackson and make sure he doesn't run out of bounds. Um, yeah, I don't know. It just, there's some good scenes, but overall, like even the pump me up speech at halftime, that's given by Preacher. It's not given by the coach. He does give a good speech to Mike Winchell about winning and losing. You know, when they're going home from the coin toss. I mean, maybe it would win an award for best alcoholic father.
I mean, that's a
It's
given.
got a good scene there. Yeah.
It's Texas, but I mean,
Yeah.
we're going best player.
Best overbearing parent.
I think he was the best player in any football movie.
I think
Just
you're
my
wrong.
opinion.
And
Fair
here we
enough.
go. Here's
That's
why.
okay.
I mean, first of all, Bobby Boucher's better. We already determined that, right? No, we didn't determine that.
No.
One thing Booby Miles doesn't have that Bobby Boucher does is plot armor. That's for damn sure.
He really fucking doesn't, and he's an ugly
He
crier.
has
So
no
I mean,
he has the opposite of plot armor.
that's points
He's
against
basically
him too.
plot glass. Yeah.
Yeah, he's Mr. Glass. He's the cousin of Mr. Glass, and there you go. That's all you really need to know. His plot armor is very, very thin.
So here we go. Here's the actual best player in a football movie.
Hit me. Let's go.
It is Steamin' Willie Beeman of the Miami Sharks from Any Given Sunday, played gloriously by Jamie Foxx.
Bitch.
He's Willie Beeman.
He's got vocal talent out the keister.
Yeah. I mean, he's in that Metrics commercial, looking jacked. That's great. He's a third stringer that comes to start for his team after the first two strings go down. He's clearly the most electric player on the field. He basically revolutionized the NFL before the NFL was revolutionized, because he was Michael Vick before Mike Vick even existed. Because this is in 99 or 2000. Michael Vick hadn't made it to the NFL yet. So he's out there doing things that we wouldn't see for another 3 or 4 years. And then I don't know how Michael Vick didn't ever get compared to Willie Beeman when he came out.
Probably because it was a movie.
That could be. He had some, some nervousness issues. He'd always had to vomit before he got out there. But, he comes in as a third stringer, takes his team to the championship. They don't win, but that's okay. And then he gets scooped up when his coach changes teams at the end of the season, becomes GM of the new expansion team, grabs Willie Beeman to be his quarterback, so the Miami Sharks can't use him anymore.
So brutal.
Great team around Willie Beeman, too, for the Sharks. They got Lawrence Taylor out there.
Fuck yeah.
They've got LL Cool J as the running back.
Also.
Terrell Owens is on the team as one of the receivers. Which
shit,
in
I
a very,
didn't notice that.
yeah, they don't show his face or anything. They show his face one time he scores a touchdown, and he's doing like he's got his hands up in the end zone, like while some of his teammates are picking him up. And they kind of zoom in on his face a little bit so you can tell it's him, but it's on the back of his jerseys, it's Owens 81, and it's him. It's in the credits and everything. I don't know, man. He's just too electric. I can't get away from that. He doesn't get hurt like Booby Miles. He does doing all the same things.
Throw that
out
in
there.
my face, huh?
Yeah. And I like Willie Beeman. I like Steamin' Willie Beeman. I have a Steamin' Willie Beeman jersey T-shirt, like Sharks jersey T-shirt that I wear sometimes. It's pretty cool. It's not a good T-shirt though, is the problem. It's very itchy.
Yeah, I mean, of course not. It's merchandise for a, B movie.
B movie. I don't know about that.
B-movie.
Any Given Sunday
B-man.
might be the second best movie on this list.
So far, yeah, maybe.
No, overall.
Ah.
Second best football movie I've ever seen. Did you ever watch the show on ESPN Playmakers? You might have been a little too young for it.
I did not.
Really good show.
Another ageism comment, Calvin. Thank you.
I'm sorry about that.
Oh my God.
Like, I was 14 when it came out, so you would have been like 8, and it was a very hard R look at the quote-unquote NFL and inside the locker room and inside the players' lives. Very good show. Only ran for one season because ESPN got pressure from the NFL to take it off the air because it was hitting a little too close to home for the NFL.
That sounds awesome.
It was a bit controversial. Go look it up. Try and find it at your family video. It's only one season. It's like 10 or 13 episodes. Really great stuff in there.
What's this called again?
Playmakers.
I am
Great intro song too. I just keep coming back to Willie Beeman, man. He
Yeah,
had a
I think
cannon.
that's fair. I'll accept that.
I would have gone with Sunshine Ronnie Bass had I not picked Herman Boone for the last pick, but I'm a sucker for a cannon and a mobile quarterback in a time where mobile quarterbacks were unheard of, and he was a good player.
He's a pretty fucking good player.
All right, now let's move into, this was a tough one because there's a lot of good in a football movie. There's always a good reason that they have to win the game, right? So we're going to go to the best end goal for the team award. And there's none better that can give out this award than our friend Colby Mack from the At Colby Told Me podcast.
Yo, what up? It's your boy Colby Mack, host of the Colby Told Me podcast, co-host of the Minorities Report film podcast, and your soon-to-be lead anchor of the Stream Team podcast, the sports center for your favorite streaming platforms. You can give your boy a follow. I'm on all the socials at Colby Told Me, on Twitter and Instagram, and I'm on Facebook at Colby Mack, and I am here to present to you on behalf of a podcast about something, the best team goal. And the winner is Remember the Titans. Anybody know what this place is? This is Gettysburg. This is where they fought the battle of Gettysburg. 50,000 men died right here on this field, fighting the same fight that we're still fighting amongst ourselves today. If we don't come together right now on this hallowed ground, we too will be destroyed, just like they were. I don't care if you like each other right now, but you will respect each other. And maybe, I don't know, maybe we'll learn to play this game like men. That's Coach Herman Boone, performed brilliantly and masterly by Denzel Washington. And not only is it one of the greatest sports acting performances ever, it's inside of one of the greatest sports movies of all time, and I can't imagine a film more worthy than the best team goal. A man with all the odds stacked up against him in a part of Virginia in a time in our country that was teemed with turmoil and racial strife. Gosh. This team banded together against the odds to pull out the impossible. Boone was told by a member of the school board that if he loses even a single game, he'll be dismissed. The Titans will go on through the season to be undefeated, battling racial prejudice before slowly gaining support from the community that loved them. And even at the last moment, in the semifinals, a board member came one more time to Coach Boone's staff and said, you know what? We're going to do something to get you where you want to be. And that staff member realizes this, and against the odds some more, when they find out that the game was possibly rigged, this team banded together and played their hearts out. Not only winning the semifinals, but going on to win the state finals. Remember the Titans gets the award for the best team goal. And remember, when they ask you where you heard it from, you tell them Colby told me. Peace.
All right, I mean, we were talking about recasting this with John David Washington, but fuck that. We got the actor to replace Denzel right there. Colby Mack.
Yeah.
He did it. I mean, we got to keep having him back every time we do this with guests because I just want to hear what his monologue is because he does a great job at that.
He's
Thank
masterful.
you, Cole. Good pick too.
Very good pick.
We already both picked Remember the Titans, so we couldn't give it there. But I mean, again, they've got to defeat racism. They've got to win the state championship. They've got to keep the coach his job. They've got to show that they can come together. That's all important. It's a good pick. It's a good pick.
There's many layers to that one.
Absolutely.
Sure.
Absolutely. And we've already kind of talked around the Titans to death. But it's a great pick. Way to go, Colt.
Holla back.
Now, for the actual award, I got to give it to the Little Giants. In the Little Giants. They're playing for one town, one team. Danny O'Shea needs to beat Kevin O'Shea to kind of prove that he belongs, that he has a role in his family and in this town, and that he can beat his brother just one time. That's all it takes is one time. He also gives, as somebody mentioned on our Twitter that we read earlier, he gives these misfits kind of a chance to play football. And I think regardless of who you are, I feel like every young boy has it in them that they want to play football. Even if they know they're not good at it, even if they know that like nothing's ever going to come of it, like they just, kids want to go out and just throw the football. And it's not even just young boys, young girls probably want to do it too, as shown by the icebox here. He proved that girls can be the best player on a football team also, even though the Cowboys wouldn't pick up the icebox. And it's important that these kids who otherwise would not have a chance to play football got a chance to play. And then does the ultimate boss move at the end and says, "You know what, bro? We'll just combine our teams. You don't have to, your kids can still play. Every kid gets a chance here at O'Shea Chevrolet."
Football is really a team sport through and through. Like that's the tightest unit I've ever played with was on a football team.
Absolutely. And if it's not that way, your team's just gonna suck.
Yeah, I mean you gotta play football like two things, like your hair's on fire.
My football teams were not a tight knit group, and we fucking sucked.
Yeah, so. I mean, I was on some that weren't and some that were, and it was night and day.
Mm-hmm. We had some parts of our team that worked, and you could tell those parts worked well together. But then the other parts would kind of crumble a little bit because they weren't as tightly knit, and then the whole thing kind of unravels if you let it. But yeah, I really liked the Little Giants that they were playing, not only for pride, but just to give everyone a chance. And that's important for kids. Like the Kevin O'Shea, who is a former football star, Heisman Trophy winner, he just wanted the best players. And when you're 10, 11 years old, which I think they are in this movie, that's not really what's important. Like everybody just wants a chance to play. Everybody wants to go have fun. It's not important that you're the best at that age.
Unless you're a turd. There's always that turd. Well, yeah, I agree. You just want to go have fun with your buddies,
with your friends.
That's about
it. And that's what the Little Giants gave them the opportunity to do that, and it gave Danny O'Shea the opportunity to show Kevin O'Shea that maybe there's more than one way to skin a cat. There's 4 ways to skin a cat. Shout out Parks and Rec. All right, who do you have for best end goal for a team?
We've actually already mentioned this movie, but I give it's a multitude of end goals for a multitude of characters in Any Given Sunday.
It's the Waterboy, isn't it?
No Waterboy. It's Any Given Sunday. I mean, nice. The Miami Sharks as a team, they got to come back to relevancy. They're like the Cowboys trying to come back from their '90s glory. Tony D'Amato.
They got to fire Jason Garrett then if they want to do that.
Fuck yeah.
Tony D'Amato is the Jason Garrett of this made-up football league, I think.
Exactly. But he wants to keep his job just like Jason Garrett. So he's going to do, just enough. Willie Beeman.
So he's going to constantly give blowjobs to Jerry Jones or Cameron Diaz, I guess, in this situation.
Jerry Jones has a push-to-call button, and Jason Garrett's like, fuck, honey, I know it's 2:30, but...
It's JJ again.
Yeah, it's JJ again.
JJ needs a BJ. Gotta head out. It's not even a push to call. It's just like a beeper because Jerry Jones is so fucking old. So he gives Jason Garrett a beeper and it just comes in with the text scroll that says JJ needs a BJ.
Dude, we just fucking crack the code. We're going to look on, this Sunday, we're going to watch it close and we're going to see a beeper on Jason Garrett's head. It's gonna be.
If I see one, I'm definitely gonna screenshot it and circle it and share it out.
Please do, because
Jason Garrett's beeper.
We've kind of figured it out.
JJ needs a BJ. All right.
JJ needs a BJ.
So tell me more about why the Sharks need this win.
I mean, they used to be, a great team. They were well respected, and now they're kind of at the bottom of the league. They're losing momentum. They need to stay relevant because that means money, that means jobs, that means the whole shebang.
Well,
Tony
doesn't Cameron
D'Amato,
Diaz want to sell the team?
you
Or
gotta
no,
make
she
it
wants a new stadium. That's what it is.
either way. You need to be
Yeah,
relevant, or you're
right,
not going to get any
exactly.
money. Tony D'Amato wants to keep his job, or at least he wants to stay in the business and
Willie
make
Beeman, he wants to be a
money.
starter. You know,
He wants to prove he can play. He wants to get noticed and
L-
enjoys
LL
the.
Cool J needs his new contract. Or no, he's playing for a bonus, right? He needs so many yards to get his bonus, and
No,
then if he
that's
gets
Lawrence
that
Taylor, I
bonus,
think. It,
oh,
he
that's
needs
right, he needs sacks to get his bonus,
yeah, he
and
gets like
LL
$1
Cool
million.
J is trying to get a contract. He wants the contract so he can buy more cocaine. Yeah,
They all want some cocaine, but I mean, they end up doing very, very well. And it's fun because it kind of parlays some of the main characters' success with this team into success later in life. Like you mentioned before, Tony D'Amato totally fucks over the Sharks, and so does Willie Beeman.
oh yeah. Well, Willie Beeman doesn't really have a choice in an expansion draft. You get to, as long as they're not like expansion protected, you just get to pick players off other teams. Like teams get to designate a certain number of players that you can't take, and the Sharks obviously didn't do that with Willie Beeman. So then everybody else is fair game from every other team to build the new expansion team.
Do you think they make an Any Given Sunday too?
I don't think they need to. I think it would be hard. I guess if it's a follow up with just Tony D'Amato and he's got a full new team and maybe Willie Beeman's like a coach or something on their team. Yeah, I don't know because it would be hard. I wouldn't want to see it.
No, me either.
You know what they
was my own
made
question.
a straight to DVD sequel of recently that I saw at the Redbox?
What's that?
Inside Man. Another great
You fucking
Denzel movie.
serious?
Yeah.
They
Don't know
did
what it's about. Can't watch it.
I imagine it's about a guy inside something.
Yeah. Inside Man's a great movie. When we talk
It is.
heist movies someday, it'll weigh heavily in on there.
Oh hell yeah!
So another underrated factor about the Sharks is their touchdown celebration, which we didn't get to talk about, where they do the fin on top of the head and bob their head. Super dope.
Super dope.
Yeah. All right, I like your pick.
It's a good pick.
I like that it gives it's not the team's goal. It's more of an individual goal for each player on the team. I like that.
Which
That's a new
leads to
twist. That's what we're here
as
for.
a team.
Exactly. Everybody's kind of playing for. It's kind of like we were talking about with the cohesion of, the Little Giants and Remember the Titans, of how all those players need to come together. They need to be a tight knit group. The Sharks were not that. They didn't give a shit about each other as people.
No, they hated each other.
But they each had their own goals and realized that they had to help each other out to each achieve those goals, and they did. And that one guy ripped out somebody's eye.
Yeah,
That fucking sucks.
dude, that's so bogus.
Yeah, that was rough. Let's move on now.
Let's do.
All right, next is the most interesting team, and for that we have Gordon from Random Reviews and Other Ramblings at GG Podcasting on Twitter. Let's hear what he has to say about the most interesting team. Here we go.
Hey guys, this is Gordon from Random Reviews and Other Ramblings, the show where we get the most out of our Netflix subscription by reviewing randomly selected movies available on the streaming service. I'm here to give the award for the most interesting football team. So I've got to give it to the football team from The Longest Yard, the 2005 version, because you've got murderers, prisoners, felons, abusers, thieves, and a washed-up quarterback. It's essentially the comedic version of the 2014 Baltimore Ravens. So congratulations to them and all the other winners.
Damn, shots fired at the Ravens. I like that. So Gordon stole my pick. So
Same here, goddammit.
okay, so we all got the same one. That's fine. Now we can talk about it and we don't have to wait. So Longest Yard Meme Machine. Like that's almost to me a no-brainer. You start out with convicts all coming together on a team to build this tight-knit group, right? But you've got fucking Adam Sandler. You've got Greg Goldberg. You got another wrestler that I don't know his name, the big Samoan-looking dude. You got Nelly. You got Michael Irvin. You got Cheeseburger Eddie. Then you throw in Chris Rock as the mascot and Burt Reynolds as the coach / running back.
And fucking Terry Crews.
Well, yeah, he's Cheeseburger Eddie. I mentioned him.
Did you?
I just like
was
calling him Cheeseburger Eddie. I know he's Terry Crews, but it ain't easy being cheesy.
It ain't easy being cheesy. That whole movie is just absolutely stacked. That dude from Prison Break, also very good.
Is he in there?
Yeah,
Huh?
not Michael Scofield.
Oh, okay.
The guy that was like a Fed who helped then went to their side. He was the other
I didn't watch
quarterback.
Prison Break. Oh, yeah. Well, that doesn't count. The other team doesn't count. We're talking about the Meme Machine.
Well, I mean,
Meme
but
Machine. Meme
just their
Machine.
names are fantastic. Brucey, Megget,
Oh,
Deacon,
I forgot
Boss,
about Brucey.
Caretaker, Cheeseburger Eddie. Like the fuck?
I liked Nelly. What was Nelly's name?
Megget.
Megan. That's right. That first run he did where he ran out of his shoes, like that was burned into my memory for so long, and that made me want to keep rewatching the movie more than almost any other scene in the movie, other than the opening scene with Courtney Cox's new boobs.
Yeah.
She had just upgraded those and was ready to show it off.
Everybody look at my titties.
Yeah, kind of. Except not really because it's PG-13, so just look at the half of them.
Everybody look at my push-up titties.
And honestly, it doesn't matter what they did to get to jail, because on the field everyone was equal. They were on the same level playing field as the guards in that moment. And it really stood out when Paul Crewe, everybody decided to stop blocking for him, and he just ran it by himself. He said, "Fuck it, I'll do it myself." Loses his helmet on the play, keeps going. That really showed the rest of the team, like, okay, we're here for it. Even though he cut a deal to get out of prison if they won, but that's neither here nor there.
That's neither here nor there. We won't judge Paul Crewe. Paul Wrecking Crewe.
Yeah,
What a
he was
baller
trying to get out of
Paul has.
jail. Any one of us would have done the same. And this was another close second for best end goal for a team. Like beating the guards in a prison matchup where it's legal and you're not gonna get shipped to the hole, like that's great. And then someone almost got sniped. So like I feel like you can't include a movie where someone almost gets sniped as the best end for a team.
Yeah, I mean, it gets thrown in their face, but yeah, anytime if I was in prison and they were like, yeah, you could, all you got to do is basically play football against these guards, I would fuck them up. I don't give a shit who it was.
I feel like the prisoners in most prisons would be legitimately better than the guards in a football game.
It's quite possible. I mean, guards don't have 23 hours a day to work out.
And yeah, and do whatever the fuck they want. Like, and guards are like not always the most in shape people.
No, they're usually fat. Usually.
Or like skilled at anything.
They're usually skilled at watching others.
Shout out prison guards. Actually, this kind of relates. My football coach in high school for my freshman and sophomore year was a prison guard. Also not in shape.
Yeah, I imagine.
And old. And had like 2 replaced hips and 2 replaced knees. He wasn't chasing anyone down on the football field, let me tell you that. He was not going to tackle Paul Wrecking Crew or Nelly the Maggot.
Oh, hell no. We had a coach like that too, and he would sit on the blocking sled and make you push his 400-pound fat ass across.
I mean, he wasn't that big, but he would do the same. He'd sit on the sled, and yeah. I was not good at the blocking sled. Let me just say that for the record here. I hated the sled. I was fine on the 5-man sled because like the other 4 people could make up for me. But the 1-man sled, like that, fuck that thing.
Yeah, I would always just make weird sounds to make him uncomfortable. I'd be like,
I could take a hit all day. I could do like anything actually that happens in a game, I'm fine with. But put me up against that fucking blocking sled, no. Get the fuck out of here with that.
Yeah, fuck that sled. The bane of my existence. But anyway.
Do we have anything else on the meme machine?
We do not have anything else.
They came together as a team. A lot of interesting characters there. I think it's the only right answer.
I think so too.
I don't have.
All 3 picked it.
I don't have any like runners up or anything for that. Like when it came to actually, I do have a runners up. Varsity Blues. They had a pretty interesting team.
Never seen it.
You haven't seen Varsity Blues? God. You need to go and watch some '90s movies.
Go eat some dinner.
All right, let's move on to the final category. Best touchdown/touchdown celebration. From this, we've got a 3-peat. We actually get 3 people given the award. It is the guys from Thoughts from the Basement podcast on Twitter there at TFTB Pod. So follow them, listen to this. They've all got different opinions, and they come together to make some compelling points. Here we go.
So then Keanu Reeves takes his helmet off, okay? And his hair is perfect. He played an entire second half of football, and his hair is perfect.
Nice
don't get
and
it.
feathery.
I don't get it either. What's up, everybody? I'm Chris Cunningham,
I'm Alex Mark.
Hey guys, I'm Steven Gaston.
and this is the Thoughts from the Basement podcast. We primarily focus on movies on our podcast, but every now and then we delve into topics such as comics, video games, and just whatever else comes into our heads. So be sure to check us out. And with that, we have been presented with the Best Touchdown Award for the evening. Thank
Best
you,
touchdown.
Alex.
You're welcome. Hug it,
Um,
chug it, football. Best touchdown. Who's starting?
Sounds like you want to start.
Yeah, you're all amped
I'm
up,
gonna start?
Alex.
Yeah,
so
all
why
right.
don't you go?
All right, well, let me read this to you. Let me just give you a little quote here, okay? I'm gonna tell you how great this is, okay?
Okay, I'm ready.
Pain heals, chicks dig scars, and glory lasts forever. Okay?
Okay.
That's Keanu Reeves in a movie called The Replacements.
He used
Oh.
all. Is that the first time those quotes have ever been said?
Ever?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I was
But-
about to say, if that movie.
It's a
reaped all
quote from
those
that
quotes-
movie. So Keanu Reeves stars in this movie with Gene Hackman, where a football team goes on strike and they hire replacement players to come in and play for the season. And my touchdown comes at the end of the movie whenever it has been found out that the players have crossed the line and they're going to be playing in the playoffs. And these replacement players are playing their last game. And if they win, their team goes to the playoffs. But they're not going to play in the playoffs. They're done after this game is over. And so they are just playing for their own glory. And it's a great touchdown. Keanu's there. It's class. It's a movie from the year 2000, so it is classic 90s. After an awesome fake field goal happens where Keanu runs the ball in, there's actually a penalty that happens, and the ball goes back. They have to replay the play, which is a really cool and interesting thing to do because you watch that play and you think, okay, that's the final touchdown. He did it. They won. But no, there's a penalty. They got to redo it. And there's a wide receiver who is deaf, who's played by Roy from The Office, if there's any Office fans, and he catches that last pass. Whenever they go to call the play, Keanu tells Gene Hackman, he says, I want the ball, and Gene Hackman says, good, winners always do, which is just a badass quote. Badass. And so Keanu throws the deep ball to Roy. Roy catches it, and then we have an awesome cover of Heroes from David Bowie from the Wallflowers.
Very good.
That's my pick.
Very good.
Very good, very good. Steven, what's yours?
Well, I was gonna go with Remember the Titans just because it's such a classic, and then as I was searching through Remember the Titans touchdowns, I was reminded of a little movie called Little Giants, 1994. Ruled my childhood. I love this movie so much. Got Rick Moranis and Ed O'Neill. They play rival brothers who have peewee football teams that are against each other, and I would say the funniest touchdown in the movie, which is my second pick, goes to the character Jake Berman, played by Todd Bosley. Which,
Yeah.
if you don't know him by name, you would definitely know him if you saw him. But that's definitely the funniest. My favorite one, though, has to go to the character Johnny Venero, played by John Paul Steer. But basically, it's a kid scene where the kid's dad is always working. He can never make it to any of the games. Well, they pitch the ball to Johnny, and Johnny's not the best player, but his dad ends up finally showing up to one of the games, and he's in the end zone, and the kid runs to his dad, ducks and shucks and stiff arms and dives over every kid there yelling, Dad, 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 as he's running towards him, makes the touchdown, gives him a big old hug, and, that's just the best scene to me. I love
Nice.
that. I love that movie. I love that scene.
Nice. Well, real quick, I just got to ask you guys one question. You remember when Bobby Boucher came back and the Mud Dogs won the halftime Bourbon Bowl? My best touchdown pick is the final touchdown from the Water Boy, the one where Bobby gets the football and he's got what is absolutely one of the best pockets I've ever seen in a football movie. Bobby stands back there for 10 seconds, long enough to look at the offending coach, look at Henry Winkler, look down the field, think about his mom, think about Vicky Valancourt, and then he just fucking heaves this ball.
Yeah.
Bobby Boucher is a better football thrower than Aaron Rodgers. I'm saying it right now. That motherfucker hauls the ball down the field. and the wide receiver makes an unnecessary one-handed catch, and then he pulls it in, and then the Mud Dogs win the Bourbon Bowl 30-27, just like Vicky Valancourt said. This has been the Thoughts from the Basement podcast. Be sure to check us out.
Damn, those are some good picks.
They had great picks.
First and foremost, I gotta say, I'm actually upset that no one actually picked Remember the Titans, because that final touchdown with Ronnie Bass and Red running the option and Ronnie Bass getting out there and throwing blocks, like, that's a great play.
That was fantastic.
All right, so I'm upset, and I can't pick it because I already picked Coach Boone. So I was a little upset. I wanted one of them to pick it. But you got the replacements with the Keanu Reeves touchdown. And I loved in that how he just kept calling David Denman Roy from The Office. Like, he just kept calling him Roy.
Dude, I mean, I would do the same thing.
Like, he didn't have a real name.
A million times.
Then we got the Little Giants, which, again, they don't even pick the most iconic play. You're not getting the annexation of Puerto Rico in there. I do like the touchdown where, you know, the guy goes and hugs his dad. That's a good touchdown, but I like the annexation of Puerto Rico a little better. And then, what else did they have? Oh, Bobby Boucher for the final one.
Which is what I picked.
Oh, wow.
Touchdown. Bobby Boucher. Game winner, baby.
The Waterboy is really weird because, like, everybody in our age group has seen it and kind of likes it, but no one ever talks about it.
I mean, it's one of Adam Sandler's classics, but it's not that
But even when you're talking Adam Sandler classics, like you go to Happy Gilmore, you go to Billy Madison, Big Daddy comes up before it, Mr. Deeds even comes up before it. Big Daddy is a great movie. Like, it's like 7th on the list of movies that would come up in an Adam Sandler movie discussion, which is weird because everybody kind of has fond memories from it and everybody can quote it. And that was another one that was on TNT a lot, and you just saw bits and pieces of it here and there. And it's just like, I feel like it doesn't get talked about enough. So why did you pick Bobby Boucher for the best touchdown here?
Because it was like the most athletic play I've ever seen from a white dude. Just throwing that out there. He received a handoff, step back to pass. And I'm saying this as a Chicago Bears fan and Mitchell Trubisky former fan.
I mean, obviously you haven't watched a lot of Tim Tebow game tape. That's
Dude,
just
I watched
what it is.
plenty because what could have been. But, I mean, he got it off in time. As time was expiring with Meanie in his face, a guy named Meanie. It's tough. And
yeah,
then
that's rough.
You know, led his receiver, who was an actual quarterback, to win the game. All while, you know, that weird dude.
Yeah, but he was also a needle dick.
Yeah, he was. That is just harsh. Harsh.
Needles
dick, are very thin.
Needle dick.
And, you know, the dude just is in the stands so excited he is rubbing his nipples. Enjoy.
There we go, Farmer Fran. That's a good pick, but here's a better pick. Well, maybe not better. A different pick. I went with Rod Tidwell from Jerry Maguire. You seen Jerry Maguire?
I have never seen that, actually.
It's a good movie. It's long, and there are some stretches where it's pretty boring. Good nap movie. You can kind of come in and out of it. But it's a good movie. Anyway, Rod Tidwell, not the main character, but the main client of Jerry Maguire, the actual main character, played by Cuba Gooding Jr., is a receiver for the Arizona Cardinals. And he's been playing all season trying to get a new contract, and Jerry Maguire quit his job at the big agency and is still trying to be an agent. So teams aren't really taking himself seriously, so he's having a hard time securing a contract for his star receiver, Rod Tidwell. Rod Tidwell makes this catch in the end zone on Monday Night Football, gets massively concussed, and this is in the 90s, so concussions don't really fucking matter. But he's knocked out for like literally 4 minutes of screen time, just laying on the ground in the end zone, ball in hand still. Then he wakes up, realizes he's caught the ball, realizes he's in the end zone, stands up, and just starts dancing. Great celebration here. It's really second only to the new Tweeter end zone dance from Varsity Blues, which again you haven't seen. You need to catch up on your 90s football movies. But basically he wins the game on Monday Night Football, which I already said, in front of a national crowd. It secures their team a playoff spot. Also, we learn later that this catch kind of was responsible for securing his new $112 million contract extension with the Cardinals, which he's really excited about because he wanted to finish his career in Arizona. I don't know why somebody would want to finish out their career in Arizona, but Tidwell did. I guess he's Larry Fitzgerald before Larry Fitzgerald was a thing. And it's just a great play, getting concussed while catching the ball. gets up, great reaction, great celebration, and then gets the big contract afterwards. And,
It's a win-win-win.
Win because Jerry Maguire is also now taken seriously in the community of agents again. And win because Jerry Maguire also gets the girl in the end. Based on Rod Tidwell's confidence in himself, he decides to have confidence in himself and go after Renee Zellweger.
Sorry.
Not a fan?
She is not attractive in my opinion.
She has moments. It's weird. She's a two-face. Sometimes she is, sometimes she's not. All right, those are all the awards we were here to give out. We've got a little bit of extra. We'll kind of try and we've gone kind of long, so we'll try and wrap up quickly. Any categories that you think we missed?
The only thing I was gonna say is the best movie based off a true story, but they're also.
I mean, it's still Remember the Titans, right?
No, I'm going with The Blind Side.
Oh,
I think it's slightly more accurate.
That's a best. That would be the best movie. And like the closest, like you said, it's most accurate. Definitely. Great choice. I agree. Mine was the best actual talent for a player, and this is where I got my Boobie Miles in, because it was a toss-up for me between Boobie Miles and Sunshine Ronnie Bass, who like as an actor looked like they could actually play football.
Yeah, I'm sure he was out there schooling fools, to tell you the
truth. Yeah. Do you want to throw anyone out there?
For
best actual talent from an actor?
I mean, I'd say the guy that played Julius in Remember the Titans.
Oh, yeah, Wood Harris.
Yeah, I think he'd
all right, I'll give you that.
Killing it.
Also, I mean, does Lawrence Taylor count?
No.
From Any Given Sunday?
You can't even put him in there.
That'd be like including Shaq from Blue Chips on a thing like that. Yeah, we can't do that.
Cheating.
Now here's an interesting thought experiment. If you could be a part of any movie football team, what team would you want to play on, and what position would you play? You can either take over for an existing character or just like throw yourself into the team as a different, not main character.
I mean, it's only one choice for me. I'd be, Lawrence Taylor's character in Any Given Sunday, just to play linebacker under the lights.
I mean, he got a lot of concussions though.
I probably got a lot of concussions in high school. Linebacker was like the funnest position I think I ever played in any sport, and to play that under the lights on a professional team would be the tits.
All right, I'll give you that. I went with Varsity Blues. I was kind of thinking more I wanted to be on a high school team. I didn't want that much pressure being on an NFL or college team, and you can't pick Remember the Titans because there's way too much baggage with being on that team, right? You gotta solve racism. You can't just show up and play unless you're Ryan Gosling. Then you just don't give a shit.
Yeah, then it's easy peasy.
But Varsity Blues has got a lot of fun players. I would want to play quarterback. I would probably just take over. You've never seen it, so it doesn't make sense to you. But for the listeners who have seen it, I'd probably just want to take over for James Vanderbeek, Jonathan Mox. He's the backup quarterback, so you get a little bit of downtime, and then when Lance Harper gets injured, you get to come in and show what you're all about. But you got a great receiver in Tweeter. You've got Billy Bob as your lineman. You got a great running back. And Texas football in high school, like that's a great place to be, I think. Everybody's out there having fun. I'd like to be a part of that. You go to strip clubs at night, your teacher's there. It's a fun team to be.
That sounds dope.
You really need to watch Varsity Blues, like
I might
tonight.
Check that out.
I gave you a lot of movies to watch today. Anyway, thank you for listening to our football movie superlatives. Thank you to Colby Mack, Gordon from Random Reviews and Other Ramblings, the guys from Thoughts from the Basement, Boomer from the Boomstick Podcast, and Joshua Self from Self Shoots the Shit. Thank you to all of you for participating. We'll give you we'll tag you on Twitter when the episode releases and everything like that. But again, thank you for participating. We really appreciate it. Check us out on Twitter at APA something at alone_podcast. And the music, as always, for Podcast About Something is provided by Those Cats.
Yeah, stay sassy.
Stay classic.